Well, tonight is a night of celebration, and not just because Darren Westby isn't dancing, but that in and of itself is a wonderful thing to celebrate. I am so pleased, Carol and I, to have all of you here tonight. This is always such a fun evening, and my job this evening is to give a state of the arts in Wyoming, but we don't need a television show to say we've got talent. You look at those Northwest Community College singers, it's absolutely amazing. And so we've given a round of applause. Let's give them one more round of applause. I thought they were fantastic. Carol was just this close to dancing. She was getting into it. And then she thought, I could read her mind, if I get up and start dancing and Matt follows, that will not be a good night. So tonight, as we celebrate, let me just say that, as we work through challenges in this state, I think it's always appropriate to take time and celebrate and remember how fortunate we are to be in wonderful Wyoming. Whatever challenges we have, we know that we live in the most wonderful state. We have faced challenges before, and we will face challenges in the future. But it is the people in Wyoming that always bring us through. And we also celebrate tonight those things that help make our state so wonderful. And certainly the arts have enriched the state of Wyoming and enriched our lives. And so as I give my State of the Arts address tonight, I want to thank all the supporters of arts who made it so, all the artists. And I want to recognize tonight two very special people who have been to this event many times, but haven't been in recent times. And they're very special people to Carol and me and to the state of Wyoming, because in this hyper-political world sometimes we need to look at role models on who sets the example. And tonight we're very fortunate to have Governor Sullivan and Jane Sullivan with us. If you two would stand. Jane and Mike, it's an honor to have you here, and I would just want to share one story. I was never a good golfer, but I hadn't ever killed anybody on the golf course. So I get to golf once a year now with Governor Sullivan, and this, because I don't golf, things can happen. And so this year he and I were at a charity tournament in Casper, and we got on the first hole, and he said, Matt, do you smell that? And I said I did, and what it was is that I had arrived in a vehicle that had dogs in it, and my golf bag smelled like dog hair. But on the very hot day, as things wore on, it was clear that it wasn't dog hair, that something had actually, over the course of a year between golf, had crawled in my bag and died. And Governor Sullivan's a gentleman, but I could tell he and the other two that were playing with us really didn't want me around. And Governor Sullivan, in a nice way, suggested that maybe I should invest in a new golf bag, which I haven't done. Great to have them both here. As we celebrate the arts tonight, I, like Darren, this is my 7th opportunity to be at this wonderful event. And as I said my first year, and I think every year after, for somebody that doesn't have any artistic talent, and if there's any others out there that do not have any artistic talent, perhaps it's we that appreciate the artists all the more. But whether you're an artist or somebody that doesn't have artistic talent, we know in Wyoming the things that we celebrate. And I want to start first because I'm so thankful for the work Carol has done in the art world in Wyoming, including going to the art symposium every year in Casper. In the first year that she went there, she picked out a single piece of art to display in the governor's mansion for 1 year period of time. And, it was absolutely wonderful to have one piece. And then the next year it was it was like rabbits, really. There was 4 and 6 and 8, and now we have so many pieces, I don't know what the count is. But each one of those pieces not only represents an opportunity to view this wonderful piece of work, but it also represents an opportunity for that student to show their work to so many people who come through the governor's mansion. It also represents an opportunity to say that in Wyoming, we so much appreciate those young artists who sometimes are not recognized. And when you wonder what art means to the state of Wyoming, certainly we know what it means to our economy, certainly we know what it means to our quality of life, but it means so much to those individual students. And I'll share with you one story. Carol went there, and there was a girl who was having trouble in school and was, had a lot of troubles that teenagers can have, and was depressed, and things weren't very good. And by happenstance, Carol chose her piece of artwork to display in the mansion. And that's one of those things, the switch turns. Because all of a sudden, while you may not have been appreciated before, to have a piece of art appreciated like that, it turns the channel for those art students that sometimes are not appreciated. So Carol, thank you. I've had the privilege of choosing 4 Wyoming Poet Laureates, and tonight you heard from another one. And I mean, to be able to actually put together a poem for this very specific event and then do such a wonderful job presenting all of those poems, we thank you very much for your work as well. In my State of the State address, I've had the chance to recognize a young pianist who received national awards, a famous cartoonist from Wyoming who also is beloved. At this event here, we've had opportunities to hear from musicians and people who support the arts. I remember, I think it was 3 years ago, we had a wonderful musician here who turned out to not only be a wonderful musician, but a wonderful comedian. And he didn't want to just sing to us, he wanted to share some of his stories, including that he was pretending he was governor, which was very awkward for me at the moment. But he said, I'm governor, and what I think is there ought to be pot in every chicken. And the night went crazy from there. So it is always fun. These evenings are always fun. And I can't tell you how great it is to, again, give you very good news. The state of arts in Wyoming remains incredibly strong. Last summer, the National Endowment for the Arts released new research, and for the first time, we have a complete state-by-state perspective on how American adults participate in the arts. On every measure, Wyoming is above the national average. In the areas of personal performance and creation, literary reading, and performing arts attendance, Wyoming outranks the national average by double digits. There are many benefits that come from being involved in the arts and having art in our communities and schools. Benefits include livability, social engagement, desirable communities, and economic benefits too. The arts and art education positively impact our lives and draw visitors to our state. The Brighton Museum, for example, preserved and enhanced by one of tonight's awards recipients in the National Museum of Wildlife Art, whose chief curator, there's people from that, who is receiving an award tonight, are examples of great Wyoming art institutions that draw many visitors to our state every year. More than 20,000 people from near and far visited the Brighton in 2015, the year that Forrest Mars Jr. building opened. That was nearly triple the number of visitors from the previous years. So never doubt what that means, that philanthropy to support the arts. The National Museum of Wildlife Art likewise draws visitors from all over 65,000 annually. In 2015, latest data available, for every $1 of Wyoming Arts Council grant funding, local communities provided $35 for arts, programs, and services. The Fantastic Art Council funded programs reach 1.1 million adults and 200,000 youth and involve 10,000 artists. Creativity and artistic engagement improve the sense of well-being, and that's what we're here to celebrate tonight. Last year, as a matter of fact, Wyoming ranked, of all states, and a down year budget, number 5 overall for well-being. Wyoming is home to generational traditions and values that are skillfully worked into old-time fiddle tunes, powwow dances, hand-stitched quilts, carved leather saddles, and more. The arts flourish where there is both public and private involvement. Many citizens, many companies contribute to cultural activities. We see that in tonight's sponsors and in the generous patronage of the arts around the state. Let's give those sponsors another round of applause. As we appreciate the people who give their private funds to support the arts, let me make clear, ladies and gentlemen, public support is also important. Public support for the arts can bring programs that otherwise would not be available. For example, UW's cultural and fine arts programs. And it allows services that promote artistic endeavors that all far reaches in the state and rural communities in the broad public interest. For example, paralleling what we're trying to do with our diversity effort, the Wyoming Arts Council has developed the Wyoming Independent Music Initiative. This initiative will build the capacity of musicians to live and work in the state and the ability of venues to support, present, and promote live music. What a wonderful thing. We have this wonderful talent, and we want to keep it here in beloved Wyoming. By strengthening the livability of Wyoming communities in this way, Wyoming becomes more and more desirable for businesses and individuals. This Arts Council initiative is a step towards diversifying our Wyoming economy. We also know the arts play an important factor in workforce development, and in 2016, Wyoming ranked first in the mountain region for workforce development. We thank the arts for that because we know art education prepares students with strong skills in life, school, and work. Art education develops critical thinking, creativity, and innovative ability. These have been named the keys to success in the 21st century workforce. In fact, as we look at arts today, we know, when we think about it, how it enriches our life, but it also means such an incredible thing to our economy and to our ability to diversify our state and our ability to say we in Wyoming still have this belief that is true. We will shape our own future. So I'm pleased to report the state of the arts in Wyoming remains strong. And on a personal note, all of us can tell wonderful stories of what art has meant to us in our life. Artists have meant to us in our life, those who support art. And as I think about wonderful Wyoming, I would just say that for us, we hope that art continues to broaden our horizons, give us the ability to keep open minds, give us warmer hearts, and to always remember to say thank you to the artist that enriches our lives. To you artists, we thank you.